Welcome back, everybody. Today, we're going to dive into probably one of the most important things when you're starting off or even later on so that you can have a great experience with Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. And that is the actual settings. You're looking at what it looks like when you play with the settings I'm going to showcase. I turned off a couple of things that you can turn back on if you feel like you need it or want it just for preference. But a lot of this will help you be a better player as well, and I'll explain in detail in just a second. As you're watching a quick clip I just made to showcase just the visuals of it, not really the gameplay too much, but this is very early on, no spoilers or anything like that. Just wanted to show just a little bit of the visuals, but now we're going to get into what's the meat of the story, which is your settings. And that's right, let's get into it. First and foremost, when you come up in here, take your time. All right, first and foremost, most important is the base sensitivity. Why is this one of the most important? Because in this game there's a lot of traversal, and the game is built around movement. The game is built around using your traversal skills and maneuvering, countering attacks. And when you switch up your base sensitivity, it's going to allow you to react faster, right? So now you don't need to have fast speed, guys. I'm not here to tell you to max it out, okay? But I want you to find a comfortable range, and I've tested this, and I will go with the max all the way up to 75, in between 75 and maxed out. Well, in between there, wherever you feel you can move well, that is good enough. Honestly, 80 to 85, where I have it, is pretty much the average range that you want to have it in. You can be able to react faster and snap around. Don't worry about the aim down sight or the scope, because aim down sight is hip firing basically, and then scope, of course, when you're going down. I lower the scope to 20. We'll get into why in a second, but I wanted to touch on aim down sight. First of all, aim down sight is when you're shoulder shooting. You're gonna mostly aim with above the camera, third person view, over the shoulder, and then go into aim down sight from there. So only use this just like you would with a regular first person shooter, only when you're about to shoot, okay? And scoping is only when you have like a sniper, for example, when you're really trying to target somebody, you put it on there, but you want it low. And this is a trick that a lot of pro players do for other video games, the world champions. They lower the sensitivity for scoping because they want to be able to hit their shots clean. You're not aiming while you're scoping. You're mostly going to be shooting. You're going to aim with the trigger button, and then you're going to shoot scoping once you got the target in line. And that's a trick you have to learn. We can do some tutorials on actual things like that as we go forward in the future. Now, dead zones, this is something you want to play with. Your controller can have some stick drift, so you don't want to fool around with it too much. But that's that. Now, we're going to get into the meat and bones of this. I tried auto run, and at the moment, it's been up and down, a little bugged for me. At first, the first hour I was playing, it wasn't doing any issues. But then after that, it started moving on its own a lot, just like consistently moving, even when I wasn't touching the controller at all. And it was a little odd, so I turned it off. But I did like it when it was working. So I don't know if that was a bug. Of course, they're updating the game right now. It's officially releasing in a couple days when it does come out. So just wanted to note on that. Okay. Number one is your camera distance. I promise you, this is going to be critical. Okay. You can turn this all the way down and you'll see what happens. Look how close you are. And this is not with the default setting, but that's pretty close. And what this is, remember, this is a traversal game. You don't want to be that close. You want to be able to have some distance. So when I put this all the way up and you look at my character, you see how much further I am? The reason that's important is while I'm traversing, I'm doing this type of stuff here and moving around the map, I need to be able to see around me and move around. So it's pretty good. You can put it up a little closer if you really want to. But the point is, having some distance from yourself and the camera is going to help you for your POV. When people are doing counter shots, you have the opportunity for that. You're gonna see way more, and while you're moving around, you're gonna see way more. It's super important. Okay, that's that. And we're going to go into interface. I did a lot of testing for this. I actually turned everything off at one point, and without the hub, you basically can't see anything, even your missions. So not as good as other things, but we'll keep the first three on: hub, mini map, and aiming reticle. That's super important because these three mean that you're going to be good to go. The aiming reticle is basically having the actual reticle on your screen. We turn off large, we turn off enemy health bars, and the damage. This is going to be like, no, why would you do that? Well, what I'm doing is basically creating clear vision. Every time I'm shooting, I know where I'm shooting, I know what I'm doing, and it can show visuals already that the enemy's going down, you know, and especially when they harvest, you're still going to see the harvest. Okay. The incoming damage, you want this on. You have to have that on. These are personal preferences. When I play with other players, you can turn the names off. No big deal. This is a big one. Dynamic tutorials. You're going to have these. If you're playing the first couple hours, I would say after 3 hours, you're going to learn everything. You can turn it off. All right. If you need your handheld and reminders on how to walk and run and slide and reload or something, keep this on. But personally, it takes up too much space in the actual scene. Unnecessary. As you can notice, there's a theme here. We want a clean screen. Okay, super critical. And I also turned off full screen effects, low health effects. These two right here, okay, really are disturbing. When you're low on health, you don't need something distracting you, and it's not very useful. You know, it is tells you when you're down, but you're gonna know, and it's the game actually says it when you're low on health or shield, so you can hear it and visibly see it a bit as well. So turning these off is going to be huge, big time. All right, then we have audio. Anything here I didn't really touch except for streamer mode because I'm a streamer, right? But other than that, everything is typical. Kept it all on, and that's pretty much it. This was off voice chat. I guess they have it off automatic, and you have to go in here and turn it on your own if you want to talk with your friends in this game. That being said, the number one that goes with the other camera distance is field of view. 110 is a must, and the reason for this is more distance. If I turn it down, and I believe it was at like 80 or 90 for default, we're just going to go to 90. And I want you to see just a little bit, and that's not so bad, right? But it's pretty close, right? So as I traverse, you know, I don't have enough visuals compared to the way I had it, where my visuals are starting to really pop for me, and I'm able to do something special. This, okay? So that's the difference, and you can see some of my movement. You can see a little bit better, so it's super helpful when you're trying to stay alive. So just pay attention to that and have that high. You don't have to have it at max, guys. You know, this is not a recommendation to must do everything I say, but I promise you the convenience of being able to see more of the field is very, very good. Super helpful. Now, camera shake. Again, this is somewhat preference for a lot of players. They don't mind it, and that's fine. But when we're talking about competitively, a lot of the competitive players turn off all camera shake. They don't want any disturbances when they're shooting. You want to hit your headshots. You want to hit your shots. So turning this off is going to be helpful. All of these are also visuals that aren't necessarily going to stop you from playing better, but they'll help the visual of the camera. You're going to have more clear gameplay overall. All right, so you just got to get used to it. But this is going to be very, very good for you. Okay, last but not least, you're not really worried about any of this. This is all just online stuff that we're talking about. Okay, but accessibility, there's still one feature that I'm not sure what this even is. When someone gets executed, the neck bomb effects, please leave it in the comments. This is going to be how I know you watched the whole video. If you leave it in the comments and tell me what the heck is that. That's kind of the general settings, guys, but as you can see, my character, I'm able to see behind him more, So if somebody's coming from behind or something, I'm able to know what's going on. The useful way to play. And I'm not here to tell you it's a must. You have to do everything I said, but you are going to end up liking it. Okay. And there we go. All right, so that's the breakdown. See that little mechanic right there where I'm able to slow him down. And yes, these guns are already overpowered. I just only been playing a couple hours. So yes, sir. Hope y'all enjoyed the video. We have a lot more for you guys. So lock in and you can dance just like I do. Hope y'all enjoying the game. See you in the comments. And I appreciate y'all. Go watch that next video. Peace.